Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of the Back to Blighty podcast. My name is Becky and I'm joining you from the south coast of England, where I live with my partner, our son and our Springer Spaniel called Molly. This is where I talk about all things knitting and spinning related. And welcome if you're a new viewer, and welcome if you're a returning viewer. It's lovely to have you with me as usual. So you can find me in all the places down below: Ravelry, Facebook, Etsy, where I sell hand-dyed yarn, and yeah, over the interweb. So I will put the links to those things down below. Everything else, if you want any more details, you can go across to my Ravelry page, or if you can't access Ravelry, then please feel free to leave me a comment and I will try and answer your questions as good as I can, or as well as I can. So I hope you're all doing all right where you are. It is quite a nice day here in Blighty. I did set up to record this in the garden, and then the memory card became full and it was getting a bit cold outside, so I've come in. So maybe next time we'll be back in the garden. I do like to podcast out in nature, although we have got a posh pigeon, we call them, or a collared dove, nesting in our birch tree at the moment. So I was a little bit worried about disturbing him as well. So it's probably best that I'm inside at the moment. I have been doing a bit of knitting. It's been a while since my last podcast. I did say that I was going to do a kind of fleece to fibre vlog over the Easter holidays, but I just didn't get round to it, so apologies for that. I will do one at some point in the future, but yeah, work's been busy, life's been busy, and just haven't got round to it, and didn't really want to put myself under any more pressure to get that sorted. So it will come at some point. What have I been up to? I've actually done quite a bit, and it's all in a massive heap now. It's nicely organised outside. Now it's all just been dumped on the sofa, so I'm going to have to kind of rifle through a few things. So the first thing that I finished were my A Time to Reap mitts. And if you remember, last time I showed you these partly done. I think I'd got to the thumb gusset, and I had knit them in a natural yarn, just 100% Highland yarn, and I wanted to dip dye them, and I did manage to dip dye them, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out. So they go from this lovely pink, and then mixed with grey they go through this kind of lilac-y tone, and then a darker grey at the bottom. So I will pop them on and tell you a little bit about them. So I followed the pattern. I did the larger size, and I knit them 2 at a time, magic loop, and I'm really pleased with how they've turned out. Actually, I think they'll be a great gift knit. I think it is a paid for pattern, but it's not an expensive pattern. But yeah, really like them. What I like about them is they've got a little bit of lace, but not too much. So they kind of have quite a kind of feminine feel, I suppose, but not too much. It's not difficult lace at all. So here they are. And they kind of slouch here, which I really like. So they've got this lace at the bottom, and then it's just stockinette, and they finish with a lace bit at the top, and then you just do the thumb. So yeah, really, really pleased with those. They're going to get a lot of wear. I've got a pink, kind of pinky coloured jacket, so they're going to work really nicely with that. And yeah, not going to wear them now because, you know, we're late spring here in Blighty, but you know, when the weather gets cooler again, I think they're going to get an awful lot of wear. And I'm really pleased with the dip dyeing. In fact, I want to make some socks like that, and also a garment, but was a bit dull just knitting something in just a natural yarn. But the actual dip dyeing was a lot of fun. So yeah, really pleased with those. I can't remember the name of the designer, Melissa, I want to say. I'll pop it on the screen. But yeah, really lovely pair of mitts, so really happy with those. The other thing that I've done, which I hadn't cast on last time, is I've started a pair of socks, and I've done one of them, and this is using this yarn, which is a West Yorkshire Spinners, and it's in the wood pigeon colourway. So there we go. It's just signature 4-ply, and it's in wood pigeon. And I am pairing it up just with a bit of natural yarn on the heels and toes. So here it is. It's a bit floppy on the blocker actually, but they do fit me really well. So I just did my usual 64 stitches, 1 by 1 twisted rib, afterthought heel, wedge toe. But yeah, I really, really like the yarn. It's got some really pretty kind of purples and mauves and with the grey. So yeah, really happy with those. They're quite nice and long in the leg. I haven't knit socks for a while actually, so it was quite nice to get back into knitting a sock. And Molly, my Springer, she was quite poorly over the weekend. She had a little flare-up of her arthritis and I wasn't able to leave her, so I just knit. So quite a lot of it I spent knitting my shawl, which I'll show you in a bit, and these socks. So yeah, just wanted to be with Mum. It was a bit sad, but she's on the mend. She's got some painkillers and she's back to her normal kind of waggy-tailed self. So that's really nice at the moment. So yeah, so that's kind of finished object, project half done. Everything else is a whip. So one thing that I'm really pleased, I'm going to throw that over there. One thing that I'm really pleased with is I've nearly finished my Chauncey sweater. And I showed you this last time, and I think I had just started the colourwork. And I am using the Border Mill, which is a new to me yarn. I haven't got it before, but it's this really lovely 100% Shetland yarn. And I've got this blue, which I can't remember the name of it now, and I haven't got the ball band with me. But as I said, if you go on Ravelry, you'll be able to find out. And I'm also using a natural yarn. And this is as far as I've got. So finished the colour work, finished the body, finished a sleeve, and I just have a bit of this sleeve left to do. So really loving how this colour work has worked out. Now, some of you may remember that I shrank my last Chauncey. I put it in the washing machine. Don't know why I thought that would be a really good idea. Really don't know why I thought that would be a good idea. It wasn't, although I still did wear it, but I had to wear it with dungarees, so I wanted to replace it. And this Shetland yarn is so lovely. When it's like this, it's kind of quite crisp to work with. But the great thing is when you start knitting with it, it blooms so beautifully. And it just, oh, love it. So when I am blocking that, or when I have blocked that, it is going to fill up all the gaps and just be super squishy. The other thing that I did, and I keep doing this on my jumpers at the moment, is I keep making the sleeves too short. So they kind of come to kind of bracelet length. But it kind of annoys me a bit. I mean, I push my sleeves up a lot, so it doesn't really matter, but kind of does annoy me. So I've been really good and I have done those extra 2 inches on these sleeves. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be happier with it. I just want to kind of get on to the next thing. I mean, I love, you know, the process of knitting, but when you get to the end of the sleeves, you just think, oh, give me something else. So yeah, really, really pleased with this. It's exactly the same as the pattern. It's a pattern by Isabel Kramer. I omitted the, there's a pearl bump to create like a faux seam on the sleeves and down the side. I didn't do that just because life's too short and it's not a detail that I'm particularly fussed with. So yeah, almost finished. Love it. Look at that. This will be a finished object next time I see you. So yeah, really loving that project. As I say, I've only got sort of 5 inches, something like that, to go on the sleeve, and then that will be all finished. Now, my spinning / knitting group, you know who you are, said that the rule is that when you finish the body of one jumper, you can start a new one. That kind of gives you the go-ahead. Those are the rules, apparently. So I decided that I was going to cast on my Strange Brew. And some of you may remember that I spun up a Spin Jones fibre, and it was in the Muddle colourway, and this was, it was like a muted rainbow, I guess. So I spun it up and I really wanted to use it in a colourwork sweater, and this is what I've got left. So it started off with these purples, went through the pinks, then it goes yellow, green and blue, I think. Can't remember, it's like a magic knot ball already. Anyway, I decided to use my Strange Brew book, which is a book by Tin Can Knits, and for those of you that don't know, you know, where have you been? But it is a book that a lot of people have been talking about, and it's like a recipe book for knitting your own colourwork jumper. And I decided I wanted to make a cardigan using this hand spun and some Jameson Smith I bought in their Shetland Heather. So there you go. Both are Aran weight, and I have done another body. So this is as far as I've got, and you'll notice there's a steek. So I'm really happy with this colour work. So you can see where it went from the purple and then through to the pink. So I finished the body, and at the bottom I did another little bit of pink, and I will be doing the same thing for the cuffs. I'll have a little bit of that pink detail. This isn't my own pattern. This is all taken out of that Strange Brew pattern dictionary. So yeah, and then I steeked it, which, not going to lie, was a little bit worried about that, but it's come out really, really well. Loving it. It's a little cropped one because I want it to be something I can wear like in the summer in the evenings with a dress, so I wanted it to sit kind of at the waist. The steeking, I chickened out to just cutting it. I did sew it with a sewing machine and then I cut it, partly because it's an Aran weight, so the fibres aren't quite as tightly compacted as they would if it was like a 4-ply. So yeah, I'm going to show you my steek. It's not pretty, but I am going to cover it with a ribbon. So this is the steek here. I've popped on the band, and then on the inside you can see my floats, which are neat, and then I have this fluffy effect going on, which isn't going to go anywhere. So I'm going to get a nice ribbon and I'm going to finish the inside of that with a nice bit of ribbon. I'm going to sew that in. So yeah, so I'm done the body. I've now got to do the sleeves. I'll show you the back so you can really see that pattern, but I love the gradient effect in it. So got the sleeves to do, and I still have enough of this to do something else in colourwork with a colourwork yoke. But the yellow isn't me, I don't think. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use that for, but it will get used to something. But I'm really happy with that. So I've done a steek, which, yay, go me. Well happy. So that's coming on really nicely. Obviously I had 4 sleeves to do at the time I finished the body, because the rules were that once you finished a body you can cast on something else. Then I had 4 sleeves. Not such a good idea, but I know that those sleeves are going to be really, really quick because it's Aran weight. So once I've finished my chauncey sleeves, I will get on with that one. Okay, what else have I got? Showing you my socks. Okay, so my other hand spun project is my snuffled shawl, which I am doing as a little knit along with the lovely Lynn from Calon Yarns podcast. And we both decided that we would do our fluff to stuff would be the snuffled shawl, and also it would give us a bit of practice on the steeking, which, you know, I've had a go at now, so it's not quite as nerve-wracking as I thought. So I am using my own hand spun, so I've got these colours which I showed you last time, but I'll show you again. So whoop, these are my colours, and that's pretty true to life actually, those colours right there. Good light. But I had to stop because I ran out of the ivy leaf. This is all John Arbon. This is the, I want to say, Devonia, and this is just Corriedale, all from John Arbon. But I did run out of the ivy leaf colour, which I knew I was going to, so I had to take a bit of a break and spin some of that up. So I've done a bit more. I'm in a bit of a tangle though. I don't quite know what's happened there. Oh, I'll just show you. Ignore all my ends hanging out. So this is as far as I've got. So this is knit in the round, as you can see. That's the this is the slip stitch that goes down the centre. It's like the spine of the shawl, and then the other side you've got this area which is where you steek. So once you've cut it, obviously you will have a nice triangle. So yeah, so it will look kind of like that. That's how far I've got. And I think I was up to just this bit here when I last spoke to you. I forgot that these orange stitches should have been bubbles. Just missed it in the pattern. And by the time I had done this and I got to here, kind of thought, no, I'm not taking all that back. There is no way I'm going to do that. So there are some bubbles coming up shortly and I won't forget them. I will do those bubbles. The interesting thing that I have found is how my spinning has changed since starting this. So of course I had to go back and spin some more green, but if I show the orange, which was one of the earlier ones I spun, you can see that it's quite tight. There's quite a lot of spin in that. It's got a lot of energy. This one, not so much. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see there's not so much spin in it, which means that it's much easier to knit, because I was finding it quite hard on my hands initially, but now I'm using the newly spun yarn. It's not as hard on my hands at all. And you can also tell, if I bring it up close, you can actually tell that this is a bit more lumpy bumpy, but as you come down here it's a lot more even. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. And it just feels like not such a firm fabric, not such a dense fabric. So I'm back on that, and Lynn has started hers as well, and she has chosen the most gorgeous colours, much more natural than mine, but I really like it. Kind of reminds me of 70s Clint Eastwood films, you know, the kind of western things like Poncho and all that. The pattern is fine, but I had a few problems with stitch count and then throwing the pattern out, and Lynn has actually had the same issues, so I'm just kind of winging it and doing what I think. I think it's a fine pattern if you're quite an experienced knitter, but if you're a beginner knitter, it's not as easy to follow as you might like when you're first starting out. That being said, it's really not hard. It's not hard colour work, but I love the contrast. Really happy. Yeah, coming on really, really well. So getting on with that. Honestly, the mess down here, if you could see it. I didn't actually tell you, did I, about what I'm wearing? For those beady-eyed amongst you, I am wearing a ranunculus, and this is a ranunculus I made ages and ages ago, and I made it with some yarn from Biff Sugar, and it was really pretty, but it had kind of washed out a lot, and I think now I'm going a bit grey. I needed something with a bit more depth, so I just over-dyed it with some blue, and I really like it. I wear them a lot for work. I have been at work today, which is why I've got a blouse underneath it. Yeah, like the blue. Anyway, digressing. What else have I been up to? So, I have been doing some spinning. I spun for my snuffled shawl, which I've showed you those. I have got some other things here. Okay, I have got something I'm spinning on at the moment. So this is a can't even speak. Fell View Fibres. And I think it's called Wild and Woolly. If it's not, I will pop it on the screen. So I've just started spinning that, and this is using some Rolags that I got that I can't actually find now. Oh, honestly. Ah, got them. Okay, so here they are. Oh, this is what they look like. So that's what they look like, and this is what it's spinning like. So yeah, really, really pretty. I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for, but I have got some plans, and it's to do with an acquisition I've got to show you in a minute. But that's coming on really nicely. I only started that yesterday, but I'm really enjoying the fibre, and these Rolags are really nice. I tried some Rolags before, and they were a much more kind of rustic yarn, and I found them quite hard to work with, but this one is just so pleasant, and I really like the colours. In fact, I will show you that acquisition now. So I got the 52 weeks of shawls. Now, I never got the sock book that came out before, purely because for me, socks are kind of a functional thing that you just go round and round and round. And yeah, I'm not worried about doing anything intricate on socks necessarily. I just kind of, they're just functional for me. However, I did see this 52 weeks of shawls and I just thought I had to get it. So I did. I treated myself. And I think that I might use some of this fibre to make a shawl out of this book. There are some beautiful, beautiful shawls in this book, and I know you've probably seen loads and other people have shown them to you, but there is one that has really kind of captured my eye. I'm just trying to find it. You can never find it. I'm never organised enough to get a post-it note out or anything like that. I always end up, you know, scrolling through and trying to fill the time with some really kind of useless chatter. Found it. There you go. Not too much useless chatter, but I really like this wildflowers. Look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. There are loads of lovely patterns in there, and I've spent quite a long time looking at all the beautiful pictures as well. So I know I'm going to make shawls out of this book. There's quite a few that really taken my eye and I'm really excited to kind of find out more about. But I think this spin, hopefully, if I have enough, might end up to be a shawl, or might turn out to be a shawl from this book. So that was a little cheeky purchase that I wasn't planning on, but you know, why not? Another acquisition that I have is purely because of my knitting spinning group. Again, you know who you are, lovely ladies. They were talking about getting the Nellie and Eve subscription box, which is something you can opt out of. But she does these lovely, like naturally dyed fibres, and yeah, I'd just seen the other girls that I talked to sort of oohing and ahhing over them and thought, well, that's it. I've got to buy one, clearly. So I bought the subscription last month and there were some lovely things in it. So there were these lovely BFL fibres here, in this lilac, and also some gorgeous locks as well. Look at those. Now I've already spun up the other colour because there was a set of BFL and locks in this purpley colour and then also in like a corally peach colour, and I've already spun up the peach, which is really, really pretty, and I'm not sure, but I think I might be able to get away with that. Anyway, I have used the locks in some of my fibre that I'm prepping, which is my Romney fleece. Now, I told you a little while ago that I had got a fleece from the lovely Susanna at Barcombe Romneys, and I'm just trying to find it now and fill in the time as I go. And I had been hand combing and prepping that fibre. It's all coming out in a little bit of a mess now. So I was making these lovely nests from that fleece. So I decided that I would use some of the locks, which I haven't got with me, but I would use some of those locks to make some yarn, again mixing it with the Romney, and this is what it's turned out like. So pretty. So I think this is definitely going to be a shawl, and maybe it's going to be out of that book. I'm just trying to, I've put it away now, the corally colour, but yeah, really loving them. I think I can get away with it. Yeah. Oh, it smells so lovely. So yeah, that's going to take me quite a long time. I've done a few of them, but it's going to take me a long time to prep that fleece, and it's a nice process, but it's going to take a while. Okay, another acquisition is this here. So I wanted to make another ranunculus, although I'm not sure I'm going to make a ranunculus now. But basically I have a ranunculus that I made that has Surrey alpaca in it, and I love it, but it is starting to come away now under the arms because I've worn it to death, worn it such a lot. So I thought I would make another ranunculus, but I would make one that had longer sleeves, maybe, sort of like my green one where it's kind of like 3/4 length sleeves. So I bought these 2 yarns. It's all about the pink today. So I bought some Milburn 4-ply by Eden Cottage Yarns, which is this lovely sort of vintage dusky rose. It's like almost like a nude rose, which I really like. And then I got some Drops Kid Silk Mohair in this colour. And I think they're going to be beautiful together. So yeah, really looking forward to making that. I've got a cardigan that's in this sort of pinky colour that I wear all the time, and I kind of thought, you know, I clearly like the colour, so I'm going to make another ranunculus or ranunculus type top with this one as well. So loving that. So don't think I've got anything else to talk to you about as far as acquisitions go, but I wanted to show you something that I plan on working on in the very near future. Now, excuse the rustling. I keep all my stash yarn in bags nowadays, in Ziploc bags. I just reuse them from anywhere. This happens to be a Shein bag. But I was suddenly thinking to myself, I really want to get that project out again. And I haven't touched this for ages. And in fact, I apparently inspired Lynn from Calon Yarns to knit this, and then she finished it. And I literally did no more on it. So, but it's the Ironwork Tea, and it is by Paper Tiger, I think. And as I say, I started it, didn't finish it. I love the yarns, I love the fabric it's creating, but I think I just got sidetracked for some reason. It is in a complete mess, so we'll ignore that. We won't look at the messy bit where it's just been in a bag for ages and ages and ages. But this is how far I got. I mean, it's pathetic. It's really, you know, embarrassing, really. But this is as far as I've got with it. Now, the pink yarn, Rustle Rustle, is the Wool Barn. And it's this beautiful, again, pink. Although it's more of a muted kind of browny pink. It's called Rosewood. Yeah, love this colour. And I have this BFL in my honey colourway as well. So these are the colours that it's going to be. It's actually more pink than that. The light's going a bit. And then I was looking at it and thinking, I'm not sure about the yellow. I'm not sure. Should I rip it out and use some Whistlebear yarn and make it a little bit more muted? But now I'm looking at it again and thinking, I actually like the yellow. I don't know, what do you think? Yellow? Or should I go cream? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure again now looking at it. Anyway, whatever happens, I am going to pick this up again. So it's making such a beautiful fabric, and I love this little detail here around the rib. It's got this edging, so nice. Yeah, I'm going to pick this up again. Definitely going to get this done. And I think now, because it's spring, I kind of feel like, look at that mess. Ugh, I kind of feel like I should get on top of this, and then I can wear it early summer, which would be really nice. So this could be my next thing to work on. So yeah, so that is on my list of things to do. Definitely going to get that out again. Otherwise, I still have my crystal shawl on the needles. I haven't done any on that. I think that's now probably going to go into kind of hibernation for a bit, because the weather's getting warmer and it does make my hands quite hot. So I think I'm going to probably pop that on the back burner. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The camera cut out. I was talking to you about my trip to Barcombe Romneys. Susanna's farm, she's a shepherdess, and she breeds Romney sheep in the village next to mine. which is a sheep that comes from Sussex, which is where I live, and she uses her sheep for meat and also for yarn. Everything is sustainable. She likes to work with nature, and that's very close to her heart. And she does get some of her fleeces spun at a mill that's again local to us. And she asked me if I would dye up some yarn for her using some blackberries that she had growing on her farm last year. So we dyed up some yarn, and that is for sale in her shop. So I will pop the links to her below, and I'll show you a picture here of what the yarn turned out like. It came out like this lovely mauvey grey brown, depending on which light you looked at it in. And I think part of that was because the blackberries had been frozen from last year, but it was a really beautiful colour nevertheless. And yeah, she did have some in her shop, so I will link everything down below if you want to go and have a look. I will be going back and I will be taking some video footage and some photos, because for some reason it didn't enter my head to do that, which seems ridiculous, but I think I was just so sort of taken in by the whole farm that I completely forgot. So I will be going back and I will be visiting again, and I will get that video out to you from the, and it will be part of the Fleece to Fibre vlog when I get to doing it. I can't even speak now. Been at work all day, so yeah. So it was a really exciting collaboration, and looking forward to working with Susanna more in the future. Otherwise, been busy at work. I've been busy in the garden as well. All the seedlings are being potted on, the dahlias are coming out. I'm working really hard this year. I've got a patch at the front of my house which I'm going to have as a flower garden this year, which is really exciting. So I've just planted in the sweet peas, the garden peas, the sunflowers, the nasturtiums, all sorts going on out there at the moment. Anemones. Potted on the cosmos and straw flowers and all sorts of other things. I can't even remember, but it's a really exciting time to be in the garden, and I'm really excited to be planning this flower garden, which hopefully will give me some cut flowers that I can give to people and obviously have for the home, which is really important. I'm very mindful with flowers nowadays that when you go to a store, they've often come from miles and miles and miles away, and it's not really sustainable. So I quite like the idea of actually picking things from the garden that are in season, and bringing sunshine and also the bees and the butterflies into the garden, which is really, really exciting. The lettuces not doing so well. They've all gone a bit floppy. I think the rain's been a bit hard on them, but we'll see what happens. I don't mind a floppy lettuce. So otherwise, things have been quite busy. Been seeing my dad, been catching up with friends online, which is really nice. And we are coming out of lockdown, which is also really exciting. So hopefully, I think we've got Jack's girlfriend Thea is coming on the 17th to stay overnight, because that's when she can come, and that will be really nice to have people back in the house and a bit more normality for us all. So I hope you're all keeping really, really well where you are. Let me know what you've been up to. Have you been spinning? Have you been knitting with your handspun? Always excited to know all those details. Or have you been gardening too? What have you been planting? Have you done any seeds this year? So let me know. Hit the like and subscribe if you want to keep updated. It's lovely that you take the time to comment, and it's a really lovely community that we've got going here. So please leave a comment, like and subscribe if you can, or if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Take care.